my Palm Bay Paradise Twist.
Yum. I haven't had that before. That sounds totally right up my alley.
I haven't had it either, so I'm looking forward to it. And after today, I need it.
After work treat. I've got a Shiny Apple Cider.
Ooh.
They are my sponsor. So this is their
Oh,
new line for the summer. They come up with all these fun flavors. So this one is spicy watermelon margarita.
ooh, that sounds amazing. You're an Erin, right?
Yeah, but they're actually from Niagara.
Oh, nice.
And they've got like really cool, real girly looking place you can come and like do testings and stuff like that and see the orchard.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and they've got everything like all lined out and so colorful. So it was real fun to go in there and like pick out some stuff.
That's so cute. I was gonna say, I was like, Erin's not too far from me. Maybe I'll come over and have a
Totally.
little sip.
If we were doing this in person,
Yeah.
or if I could bring some to PEI, I would drag some to
Yes.
before we get into this. Cheers. Lots of
Cheers.
excitement going on for you.
Oh, what the heck?
Oh my goodness. So it all started with your debut single, Happy Place, in 2022. Wasn't that long ago, but I'm sure you put a lot of work into it getting there, putting, yourself on this debut EP that you had done as well, and putting yourself out there, and you're doing really well. Got a lot of streams on some really cool Spotify playlists. It's also on Amazon Music's Breakthrough Country. You also have recently released Ringtone, which you will be getting to. But I want to talk about A Reason or a Season. I think that's such a cool title for a song. Did you come up with that all on your own?
I did. Part of the reason why I did that is because I wanted to capture what it was like to go through my 20s. And something that kind of was coming up in my life was like, you're either here for a reason, a season, or a lifetime is the quote. And I was realizing that in between that moment, that time in my life, that it was like a reason or a season. And there's so many different relationships that I was tackling during that time that kind of encompassed that whole theme. And it just really felt like art was imitating life or life was imitating art and like what I was going through.
What point were you actually like, I want to do this, to I'm actually doing it and it's working out?
It really did take the pandemic to be a big push for me. However, I was writing songs since I was like 13 years old, just like Taylor Swifting my way through high school, like all the angst about boys who didn't want to be with me or whatever, because I was too weird, which I love to say because now I'm trying to like own that. What I would say is that it did take something like the pandemic and us having these like songwriting groups during the pandemic, and also my vocal coach to be like, Angelica, you have something here. Like, I really do think that you should pursue this. And it all kind of just fell into place. I met my first producer in these songwriting groups. He's the one who gave me my first shot. I gave him his first shot. We kind of did the thing together. I wrote the majority of those songs during the pandemic, during these songwriting groups with these people who were giving me a shot for the first time. So it was just like a really cool thing where you're looking at your life. And I know a lot of people were like this in the pandemic, where they're thinking, why would I want to waste all this time doing something that isn't for me when I've always had this dream? How can I make it happen so that when the doors do open up, here we go?
Yeah, totally. I know timing plays a big factor in too, but also it's not just about the music and what you're writing and your vocals. It's actually about everybody else too, putting it out there for you. So you have to make sure that you're with the right people.
Absolutely. Danny Strong of Taylor Entertainment decided to take Happy Place on for radio. If it weren't for how it did on radio and all of that, it was just like crazy. Like, I don't think anyone, including myself, thought it was going to take off like that, especially on a debut single.
Yep, you definitely got the spins for me there. Ringtone, the latest. I love the visuals for that. It looks like such a fun photo shoot. We're going to talk about your fashion in a bit, but Ringtone is so clever. I love how you're able to blend telling a story through making references to telephone, the ringtones, the answering machine, the voicemail, the beginning, the intro of this song, and all of that. So what was the inspiration for that?
Thank you for noticing that, by the way, because one of my favorite things to do when I'm songwriting, and I think it's something I've always done, mainly because I went to school and I did an English major degree, so I just like love wordplay and stuff like that. So thank you for that, because I would say when it comes to songwriting, that's sort of like my stamp. The song actually came from a very real and honest place where me and the girls were in Nashville living our best life. We had a write, and I personally wanted to write a song all about how it's okay to be alone. I had a lot of friends and a lot of people coming to me and being like, when are you gonna get married? Where's the boyfriend? Blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, honestly, like I'm really enjoying being single and like finding myself and all of that. But I did have a bit of a habit of going back to an ex or a situationship. And it just so happened to be that while we were writing this song, he called and the girls were like, no, you are not answering that. Like, we are going to dance to the ringtone instead. So it was kind of just like this really funny, like authentic moment of like, don't you dare. And then we were like, do, 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 do. That's kind of where that came from.
That's really cool because I think like in the moment too, like that might make your head spin a little bit into like how are you going to respond to that and take an outsider's perspective and use that as an idea for a song in the moment, because sometimes you may like look back on that might happen as an inspiration, but to be in the moment and grab that, really smart.
We were toying with the hook Missed Your Call originally. And actually, it wasn't until we brought David Madras, my favorite songwriter. I do a lot of work with him. And he was like, we already had the line just before that of, I'm better off alone dancing to your ringtone. So he told us to switch those because he was like, it's way cooler to land on that. And he's like, and it's way more you. And the one thing I love so much about David is he's really, really like in tune with his artists. And that's why I trust him so much. And we're also really good pals. So he knows me really well and he doesn't let me settle. We actually came back to this song because before we wrote this in Nashville, I was so excited. I played it out for like 2 years or whatever. Everyone loved it. But the one thing I think that was lacking for me, or just like that more deep perspective. So we went back and I was like, we need to talk about exactly what I went through. And I need to get vulnerable. I need to say some pretty intense things that I know are going to help people. It was very scary in the moment to say things like, I hated being alone. To like admit that, not always the easiest, but I also know so many people are feeling that, especially at this age where everybody's getting married and everybody has babies and you're not at that stage in your life, and there's no problem with that. But there is that societal pressure. I had to like dig pretty deep to be like, okay, if this is my story after all, and it's very important for me as an artist to tell stories that I believe in and to have messaging that is positive and uplifting. I have done like a lot of work on myself and like a lot of therapy. And if I didn't do that kind of work, I probably wouldn't have been able to release this song or
Have the confidence and
or have the confidence to. We added those kinds of things. And then David was like, we need more of the story. So we got a little bit deeper and saying things like, you tried to come back, but like been there, done that. Or just taking these like everyday things and making them very relatable for everybody.
totally relatable. So this is your first single from the upcoming EP, Breaking the Habit.
Still kind of working on it. My goal is to get it out before the end of the year. Now things are always going to come into play, so you never know. But it will be, I believe, 6 songs. And the reason I named it Breaking the Habit is exactly what I said before. I've done a lot of work on myself and I've tried to break as many habits that do not serve me and do not serve certain relationships. And almost every song, actually, I do believe every song on kind of touches on that. So one of them is like the relationship with myself and finding my independence again after my really terrible car accident, and like not feeling like I need to be codependent, like rushing relationships. That's always a fun one. Not losing yourself in a relationship and making sure that you are still getting your needs fulfilled, as well as being able to love yourself outside of a relationship. They all kind of just tackle some things that I have struggled with. And I also believe that a lot of women my age or in their 20s have also struggled with. I was very much a good girl for all of like high school. I didn't really get into like a lot of the bad stuff or partying. And I always wanted to be on my best behavior, but I have a song called Best Behavior where I'm starting to realize that it's actually fun to not be on your best behavior all the time. So there's a lot of like fun little tunes in there. And I'm just
a fun little variety of Angelica.
A variety of Angelica and a
Yeah.
lot of the growth and me developing into this new confident woman who's ready to take on the world.
Totally, totally. Well,
Yeah.
confident woman taking over the world will be taking over Cavendish,
I know.
PI, very soon. That's so exciting. Have you been to PI before?
No, I haven't. And I'm a huge lobster fan, so I can't wait to have the lobster.
Me too. Well, looking forward to that. Congratulations. Thanks so much for hanging out.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers. Go listen to Ringtone.
Ringtone.